talking about all things Google AdWords. So tips and tricks to get more leads, more sales to your small business. And Dan Sorensen here is our Google AdWords guru. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
So we're going to answer all of your questions. If you have questions, type them into the comments. We'll see them. We'll get to them. If you have questions after our live broadcast, you can continue to comment and we'll get to you. And if you have any questions that we don't answer on this, or you have specific questions for your unique small business, we do have marketing pros that are more than happy to answer these questions for you, walk you through it, really hold your hand to get you the answers that are for your business. So let's dive into it and talk about what is Google AdWords.
Let's do it. So Google AdWords, that's kind of a large question. What really is Google AdWords? Google, as we know, is a search engine. You go there to find things you're looking for locally, things you're interested in. You might go there to look for the news. You might go there to look for some shoes. You can basically find everything you're looking for. And Google AdWords is a way for you to actually, as a business, place your ad in front of the people that you want to be in front of.
Right.
So, Heather, if you're looking for shoes online and I'm a shoe retailer, I can decide, okay, let me advertise for this type of shoe, tennis shoes, blue tennis shoes, red tennis shoes.
More like high heels.
Yeah, exactly. The stilettos.
Yes.
And you can decide that I want to place an ad in front of this person. I don't have to rely on having a very robust website that's going to rank well and be at the top of the search engine. I can decide that I'm willing to pay. I know that this is what I offer, and customers generally like what I have as my selection, and I can pick the keywords on Google AdWords that I want to place my ad in front of.
Right. Okay. So is this for every type of small business, or are there certain industries that work better with Google AdWords?
That's really a great question. Google AdWords can work for basically every business. And when we say, there's kind of two parts to that question, right? Does it work for every business?
Right.
Is a little bit of, well, what do we define as work? Does this bring us new customers? Does this bring us web traffic? Does this allow us to grow our customer base? What are we really measuring out of it? Generally, any business can benefit from Google AdWords. If you have customers looking for what you offer as a service and they're not searching for your brand name, then that's a chance for you to grow your customer base. So yes, Google AdWords can work for almost any business on any budget, really. You're just looking for new customers.
Awesome. Okay, so now that you guys know that anybody can use this, send in your questions, and even if it's industry specific, and we can try and tailor those to what goals you have. So speaking of getting into it, getting started with it, what do you need before you even start with Google AdWords?
Great question again. Before you start with Google AdWords, you essentially need some place to send website traffic to. So
you need a website.
It's kind of impossible to use AdWords if you don't have a place for those customers to go.
Right.
So a website does help.
Okay.
It's advantageous that you can track what people are doing when they come to your site. They click on an ad, they come to your site, you can measure with sophisticated tools within Google, tracking pixels, namely, what are they doing on site, what's important, and I can measure that. Are they buying something? Are they filling out a lead form? Are they saying, I want to join your email list? Are they looking at lots of products? You can tell based on the actions that they're taking and the ways you measure them on your own site, is this traffic valuable or not? That being said, if you don't have a website, there are ways to send traffic to other places that can be valuable also. What I see being at Manta is that a lot of our Manta customers or Manta business owners are actually sending Google AdWords traffic to their Manta page.
Because that's where they have their phone number and that's where they have their information.
Exactly.
And all their products are listed. So it acts kind of like a website in the meantime.
Yes, absolutely. And
Great.
they can tell, okay, well, I got a few calls and I wasn't getting any calls. And I started running AdWords.
And you can see through your Manta stats if it's coming from Manta.
Exactly.
All right. Okay, so that's good to know. All right, so if you Google my business, it already shows up on Google. So why do I need to have Google AdWords too?
That's a good point. So let's say you're in a business in a competitive industry where you have a lot of people offering the same thing, the same services. If somebody types in your brand name, let's say Heather's Shoe Store.
Okay. Yes, that would make sense.
Yeah, right? It's on the way, right?
Yes.
So there's a lot of shoe stores. And even though somebody would type in your brand name, a lot of people are going to say, well, I'm a shoe store. And I want to put my ad in front of people who are looking for shoes.
Oh, so that's going to come above what
they have an opportunity.
My website is.
Exactly. So you have the opportunity to say, well, shoe store, when people type that in, they click on my ad, they generally buy things from my website. Right. So I'm going to pay no matter what else is included outside of shoe store. I know if you're looking for a shoe store, I'm the place to be. So you can bid on that, regardless of if you have your brand name on there or not.
Right.
Now, the caveat to this is, let's say you have a site that everybody knows. You're a massive you're Foot Locker. Okay? And somebody types in Foot Locker. Well, people go to Foot Locker to look for shoes. Right. So you, as Heather Shoe Store, if you offer the same types of shoes as Foot Locker, you could say, well, I'm going to bid on Foot Locker Shoe Store specifically, because you know that your company offers the same thing, a great service, competitive prices, free shipping maybe, and you can say, well, some of these customers would likely buy from my store also. Right. And grow your customer base that way. So to your point of, if I already show up when somebody types my name in, depending on the industry, it may make sense
for you to show up on other people's.
On other people's.
Yeah.
But that goes both ways. Let's say you're Foot Locker. Well, it's going to be important that you actually do advertise on your brand name, because a lot of other people are likely to advertise as well. Right. So while you might show at the top organically, you might need to be competitive with your placement and make sure that you're still going to show at the top, because other people are going to try to show at the top of Google as well. Okay,
so small business owners, this is how you take on big box stores.
Yep.
Use Google. All right, we've gotten that question a lot, so that's a great answer. I'm excited about that. Okay, so we talked about the ads that go above a search. What other type of ads does Google AdWords serve?
That's a good question as well. Google is very versatile. So while you can control what's at the top of the search bar through AdWords search ads, Google also offers ways to target people with display ads.
Okay.
So the best way to understand what display ads are is everybody's gone to, let's say, Heather's Shoe Store. They look at this sweet pair of shoes, this awesome pair of stilettos, and then that pair of stilettos ends up following them around everywhere they go.
Oh, okay.
So this is an example of retargeting.
Okay.
We already know you came to our site, you looked at this pair of shoes, you're probably a very high intent customer. There's a high occasion that you're going to purchase this pair of shoes because you looked at it. So I can make sure that I follow you around and offer you, hey, maybe I want to offer you a 10% discount and get you to come back. That's something you can actually do with Google AdWords as well. It's very simple to activate. You basically just need image ads and a way to collect that audience, but that's all really built in to Google AdWords and Google Analytics.
Oh, very nice. Even if they go to another shoe store's website, would that work?
That's not the case.
Okay.
It actually has to be your website.
Oh, okay.
And this is a case where you would need your own website to do this.
Okay.
It requires a little bit of back-end support to track these people, but it's actually a great tactic if you have a website and you have a way to place code on the website.
All right. So those are the different types. Kind of got into a little bit of where they show up. Are there other places that these ads show up?
So they can be. So Google is the largest search engine. There's a lot of activity on Google. Everybody is using it. It's the market share for where you're going to go look for things on a search engine. That being said, they do own a lot of space on other search engines.
Okay.
So once you're using AdWords and you're driving some traffic from that, there's different settings, and you can say, well, I want to show up on search engines that Google controls that are not Google.com. There's a lot of these scenarios, so I'm not really going to name any. But
there's benefits to it.
But there's benefits to that.
Okay.
Because they're generally lower cost and less competitive. You'll spend less on clicks from that search engine than you would Google, where there's more competition to show up in a higher rank.
Okay. Okay, so who can see these ads? Can I choose who sees them? Is there different ways that I can target people specifically? How do we do that?
The real benefit of AdWords is that you have a lot of control. I can decide. This is what I love about it, and I'm running AdWords a lot for Manta.
Right.
Is that I have complete control. Where do I want to show ads? Do I want to pick states? Do I want to pick cities? Do I want to pick zip codes? Do I want to pick a state and a couple cities and then exclude a few zip codes where I already have a strong presence? So a lot of times, small businesses, let's say contractors, will say, well, I already get a lot of business in this city, but I want to grow my business in this city.
Okay.
So while you might get a lot of web traffic from the area that you're already doing business in, you can choose to place your ads in the other city where you want to grow your business. You have complete control. Do I want to show in the neighboring town where my competitor is doing a lot of business and try to take over a little bit of that market? And do I want to show on people's phones because they're likely to call me rather than fill out something on my website?
There you go.
Or do I know that I only want to show ads during the day where somebody can answer the phone? You can pick. You can pick the location, the time, the date, the device. You can modify that. There's really a lot of settings, and this is something. It's really a lot more detailed than we can really cover in this. But our marketing pros are all Google AdWords certified, and any business can really call in to our marketing pros, take a free demo, and they can explain all of this as well and how it would make sense for that small business specifically.
That's great. And on the flip side of that, you can also make sure that you're targeting just the area that you serve too, right? So I'm not going to buy AdWords for Kentucky if I only serve in Ohio, right?
Exactly.
Okay, very
nice.
Let's not waste our money.
Right.
We're on a tight budget here. So getting into that, we've got a tight budget here. So as a small business owner, how much am I going to be paying just to start out? Like, say we're testing something. Let's see if this works. How much am I budgeting for that?
This comes up a lot.
Yes.
Really,
well, yeah, it should.
Exactly. Right. How much is Google AdWords?
Yes.
How much do I need to spend on Google AdWords to really drive any actions?
Yes.
And the answer is it varies. And I know that's not a great answer, but it's true. What industry are you in? How competitive is it? Insurance, lawyers, repair services, a lot of these are very competitive on search engines because a lot of people are using search engines to find those services.
Right.
So the more competitive it is, the more expensive it's going to be to show your ad.
Okay.
Typically, when you see it's very competitive, it's a lot of people are searching, but if people are paying that much for a click, then it makes sense because you're definitely seeing a return. So as long as you're showing on the right keywords, which is part of understanding AdWords, how this really works, you can really see a benefit on competitive searches. So it can range in price. Every time somebody clicks on your ad, it's going to be a different cost. And that's going to change pretty much all the time. And really what you have to normalize is, what am I getting out of this? How many customers am I getting? A click might be really expensive, but if somebody buys a $200 pair of shoes and I paid $10 for them to click on my ad, then I probably made a profit, and it makes sense to continue to advertise because then I have a new customer, somebody that is probably going to shop with me again.
Right.
And that's where we get into measuring what makes sense. If I'm growing my customer base and I have repeat purchasers, or I'm a service business and they're going to repeat service every month or sign a contract, then it makes sense to advertise. While it can be expensive, it'll make sense because you're going to have that customer for a while.
Right, right. That makes sense. So let's talk a little bit about measurement. What are some benchmarks for success for a test? Okay, so I'm Heather Shoes, testing out AdWords. How do I know I've been successful?
So this is where it's really important to have somebody who knows AdWords really manage your campaigns for you.
Okay.
Because while AdWords can be expensive, it's really expensive when you don't know how to use it.
Yes.
And it's really expensive when you're not measuring what you're going to get back from advertising. So a Google AdWords certified professional is basically essential to run campaigns.
Okay.
All of our marketing pros are. That definitely helps because we want to know that we're showing up for the right things and that we're measuring the right things, and having somebody who's qualified to measure those. And that's likely going to be, am I getting calls from my ads?
Right.
You know, you have the ability to say, a lot of my customers call me, so I want to show on mobile devices only.
There you go.
I'm only going to show ads when somebody's searching on their iPhone.
And making sure your phone number's on there.
And my phone number's on there, and in fact, they don't even have to go to a website. They can just click on the ad, and that's going to call directly.
There you go.
We've all seen it. Every time you search on Google, you see a lot of local businesses, and you see phone numbers where you can just click to call. And that's really a big advantage of AdWords. But you have that ability to say, well, I know people who clicked on my ad and the call lasted longer than 2 minutes or 5 minutes or 10 minutes. I know that's how long it's going to take for somebody to really complete a purchase. So I can measure that, well, these are good quality calls.
Or make an appointment or get a quote.
Exactly.
Okay.
Am I filling out a lead form? And this gets into the tracking that we're going to have to place on websites. But you know, are people filling out leads? Are they purchasing? I mean, those are essentially the valuable actions.
Right.
Past that, a lot of times, if you're running a lot of AdWords, it gets into, well, how long are they spending on my site? In addition to,
are they coming there?
Are they coming there?
Right.
Are they filling out a lead? Well,
okay.
Do I know I'm doing the right thing because they're visiting a lot of product pages, or they're joining my email list? Do I know how much my email list is generating after I get somebody from AdWords? You know, this goes kind of down the rabbit hole of like, what are we really measuring and what are we tracking?
Right.
And that's where really getting on the phone with a marketing pro or an AdWords certified professional can help, because they can say, for your business specifically, let's measure calls.
Yeah.
Let's take calls because you get a lot of customers that way, or let's set up a tracking on this lead form. Somebody fills out first name, last name, email, and phone number. That's definitely valuable.
Right.
So let's measure that.
Okay. So we've been talking about keywords a lot. You've been saying them a lot. Keywords are really essential. So what are keywords? How do we pick the right ones? Give us your secrets.
Ooh, the secret sauce to keywords.
Yes.
There's honestly a lot of tools within Google AdWords that you can use to find keywords. Keyword Planner is a Google tool. It comes free when you just create a Google AdWords account. And that being said, anybody can create a Google AdWords account. You just use a Gmail, create an account, and you're able to use Keyword Planner to where you can say, I'm a shoe store in this location. I also sell socks.
Okay.
I also sell shoestrings. And you can say, show me other keywords that are similar to what I offer, or things that make sense. Shoe stores near me.
Right.
Women's shoe stores. Women size 9 shoes.
There you go.
And using a keyword planner is really helpful in understanding the breadth of all the keywords that would be applicable to your business. And that really gives you a lot of ideas about what should I advertise on, what makes sense. So basically, the secret sauce is to use a keyword planner, get a lot of ideas, and then refine that based on your business specifically. What do I sell?
Right.
What makes sense? Google is going to tell me all the things that are relevant. And it's going to tell me how many of those searches are happening on average per month or per year. And I can say, well, this doesn't really make sense for my business. I don't sell kids' shoes. I just sell women's stilettos.
There you go.
And only these sizes. So we can refine our keywords around that. And then it's a little bit of business research.
Okay. Well, so let's go back to your example of the women's shoes, and you're using your keyword planner tool. Can you also use those in other places, like ideas for social posts or ideas for how to talk about your descriptions of your products?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's helpful to just understand what's happening on search engines. If you're new to AdWords, not really a lot of experience, you're like, how do I get on Google? What am I going to use this for? There's actually a lot of valuable information.
Right.
What are people searching for? And what's like a high volume search? If I want a lot of customers and I want to get a lot of traffic, well, it might make sense to take some of those ideas and use them in the content on your site.
Right.
Or your product descriptions.
Right. Okay, great. Okay, so we talked about stats and tracking, we've talked about keywords, we've talked about lot of things today. Budget. If you guys have any questions, send them in. Do you have any tips for streamlining and automating this stuff?
There's a few ways that you can kind of streamline this process. There are AdWords products like AdWords Express where you don't really have to do a lot. It's going to rely on Google to set this up for you. There are a few softwares you can use that are going to automate some of the processing of, well, how much do I want to spend on a keyword? And that's going to be based on like, what am I getting back? So there's really more sophisticated ways that are available to use AdWords. Whether or not they work for every business is questionable. It kind of depends on, well, how much am I using AdWords? Which comes back to, I just want to test AdWords. Like, what makes sense? And honestly, it's worth testing. It's worth just trying it out. Maybe you spend $50. Maybe clicks are only 25 cents for what you're offering. And then $50 actually goes a long way. Maybe it's $20. Maybe I want to spend $5 a day. But I know that when somebody searches women's stilettos size 9 in my town, that they're going to find my store, and then they're going to come in or they're going to call me. So it makes sense to spend, a couple bucks a day. And then if it works really well, maybe I just want to scale a little bit. I'm going to expand out to other areas, other towns, other states, and grow my business. If I'm online, if I can do national, if I'm really local, this is the control that AdWords really offers you. Any budget really works.
Well, and that's what we've got going on here, guys. We've got small business owners with budgets all across the board. So testing, figuring out what works best for you. I know we say that all the time about pretty much anything digital marketing, but it's really the truth. Is there anything else you want to add?
I think we really covered a lot. I think,
in a very short amount of time.
Very short. We could go on for much, much longer. I think it makes the most sense to really just have a conversation with an AdWords professional. We can't really talk specifics about individual businesses. If you have questions, definitely put them in the Facebook comments, and we can answer those now. Otherwise, I would use the free demo link. Talk to a marketing pro. Ask them. We'll give you a personalized, here's what we're seeing for your business with your keywords in your area. Here's the volume, the amount of clicks we think you can get for the budget you're going to use, and you have somebody that can give you a personalized plan. That's really the best way to start. Just start to learn about it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thanks so much for being here. And like Dan said, we've got a free demo link to talk to one of our marketing pros about your specific questions about Google AdWords. And just let you know, we're going to take December off so that you guys can focus on your holiday sales and spending time with your family, as we are also doing that. So happy holidays, Merry Christmas to everyone. Thank you.